I'm working on 2 new commissions right now. I happen to get 2 commissions right about the same time, and both clients wanted the biggest gourds I could find. I got these from Welburn Gourd Farm, just outside of Temecula. Phenomenal gourd farm. But here are these crazy gourds I've got cut open. They're both much bigger than my head. Oh no, this is a mess. This is a mess, actually. This is gonna take a lot of grinding to get level. The asphalt out here works really well as an abrasive to try to level this cut out. I don't like having the sharp edge cutting into the skin here. I like it to be rounded. I got that idea from the way Jason Romero does his gourd banjos. He always puts this nice rounded bevel on it. Or I guess it's not a bevel if it... Then I like to come in, clean up this inside edge. Now usually I'll fiberglass, or I used to fiberglass the gourds, but these are so thick, all 3 of these, that I'm just gonna dump some epoxy in there. What it'll do is, this inside of the gourd is very porous, so it'll easily soak into the wall, into the side. And that's good for the tone, because instead of the sound waves just kind of being absorbed by the porous inside of the gourd, it gives it more of a hard shell. Typically, more brittle, sort of harder things resonate better than like soft, porous things. And it provides a lot of extra strength. Most regular, like, wood rim banjos will have a tone ring, which is a piece of brass often, or a piece of harder wood that goes right around the rim and makes contact with the head. It helps give it a brighter sound, and I know we're not looking for a bright sound with these big gourds, but when you listen to the sound of gourd banjos from guys that really know what they're doing, like Pete Ross specifically, they have this great low end, this huge sound, but they still have this like punchiness to them. They still are, they're not exactly bright, but they have a real clarity to them. It's this really tough balance to walk, where you're trying to get this huge, low, deep sound, but you don't want it muddy. You want it clear. So I don't think Pete Ross puts epoxy on the rims of his gourds. I'd be very surprised if he did that. He probably has some much more elegant method than that. But I'm sort of getting that's the idea. Maybe it doesn't make sense. I don't think it makes that much of a difference now that I think about it, because the hide glue, before I put the head on, I coat this whole thing with hide glue. The hide glue does the exact same thing that the epoxy is, that I'm trying to get the epoxy to do, and it probably does it better. Hide glue dries so brittle, it's a great resonator. That's why it's used in musical instruments so commonly. And yeah, I think I'm overthinking things a little, trying to put the epoxy around the rim, but it can't hurt. I skipped a lot of the process of building the necks of these, but if you're curious about that, I feature it pretty heavily in a lot of my other videos, and I will be in the future too, so don't worry. This client sent me a sort of leaf branch, like a compound leaf-like design that he was interested in, and I was a little intimidated at first, but I sort of just freehand sketched something similar onto the side of the gourd, and I was liking how it looked. And lately, for more complex sound holes, I've just been using these little chisels that my grandpa sent me. They're just these little like relief carving chisels. The gourd is so soft, they just kind of go right through. And it's a really nice, manageable way of cutting pretty precise shapes out of the gourd. I don't really like to use a Dremel or anything. It just scares me. I would rather use hand tools for something like this. I might not have felt like filming the neck builds here, but I always film the finish going on because it looks so good. Oh, wow. That's loud, very resonant. Got great low end to it. Man.